Today I'd like to tell you about my favorite Russian writers and a little bit about Russians' attitude to copyrights in the sphere of art. I can tell you that I'm not really a big fan of Russian literature. I know that many foreigners, for example, love Dostoevsky, and I'm not a fan of Dostoevsky at all, for example. I tried to start reading several of his books and I couldn't finish any of them. I don't know, just not my style, I guess. For me, I actually love some thrillers, some melancholic literature, but his style, I don't know, just wasn't interesting for me. I can't even explain why. The only book of him I loved was, it's named Netochka Незваного, and I loved the book. It was strange, but I loved it. But he didn't finish it, and he stopped on the culmination actually, and I was like, now I don't like you even more. And the authors I like, also I know that people love Leo Tolstoy, and I loved his Anna Karenina, but War and Peace, for example, we had it at school, and the parts about peace were okay. The parts about war, they were not interesting to me, so I didn't read it. But in general, I can't say that I really liked it. And about the writers whom I like, I can say that I like Anton Chekhov. I know that he is also quite famous abroad. I love his short and funny stories, because actually, despite I'm a quite melancholical person who loves thrillers, horrors, and all that stuff, I also very like comedy and humor, and I love humor in the literature, and his short stories are very cool. But you need to know, I guess, if you're going to read him, that his early stories are usually about humor, and his late stories are super depressive, and you don't need to confuse them. So early stories are great. So I very appreciate humor and the good comedy, because I think it's very difficult to make person laugh and to bring their mood up. The same way I can say about the second writer, Mikail Zoshinka. By the way, Zoshinka, it's a Ukrainian last name. If the ending of the last name is Yenko, like Zoshinka, that's their last name has got an Ukrainian origin. That doesn't mean that the person is from Ukraine. He could live in Russia for many years. His family can live in Russia or in Belarus or somewhere else. Just a fact. There are many people in Russia with these names, with these last names, and there are many people in Ukraine and in Belarus with the Russian last names. So that's just a fact which foreigners don't know about. So Mikail Zoshinka, yes, and he also wrote short funny stories, but I even more loved his serious books. He wrote a book about not psychoanalysis. It was called Before the Sunrise, and there he tried to analyze himself, and that was the early 20th century. He tries to analyze himself, his life and his childhood, where he tries to understand why he is so melancholic. And that was very interesting to read, also for me as a melancholic person, as he tried to understand the nature of melancholics, of sadness, of why he tends to be sad when other people can be happy, and he is just like that with his nature. Also, that was very interesting. And also, yes, he wrote the short funny stories. I think that's interesting that comedians, or yes, I think I can tell comedians are also tend to be sad and melancholic, sometimes even more than usual people. And I guess the third author is Tefi, that's the female, and that's her stage name, I could say. She also wrote short funny stories and sad stories, but I love funny stories. Maybe because I tend to be sad, I love something that brings me up. And also I wanted to tell you about Russian attitude to copyright, because I wanted to tell you about it even more, I guess, than about writers, but I didn't know where to put it because I think that's not very much to talk about, so I just added here. That's a very interesting situation, mostly comparing with the Western countries, because in Western countries all this stuff about copyright is very strict. And in Russia, I can say, comparing to the West, it's not at all. First of all, I can say that it's very difficult to make Russian to pay for something. For Russian, it's quite normal to download everything for free. If it's impossible, they find the ways how to download it for free. Even people who are not into all the computer stuff, they become, when they need, they become nerdy tech computer guys and find the ways to avoid blocks, to avoid payments. And I think that there is very few amount of Russians who pay for watching movies, series. I know that in Western countries it's normal to have a subscription to watch series and all that stuff. In Russia, no. Most of the Russians just download torrents and watch it like that. We have no fines for this. It can be blocked, but through VPN it works. The same way with the books. There is an enormous library with free books where you can download anything. The creator of this library lived in Germany, and recently he died from cancer, and he made it for free because he wanted all the books to be free. There are books in English and Russian, but mostly in Russian. And yes, I know that Russian government couldn't arrest him for that because he didn't get money for this, and that was the problem. And he died from cancer this year, and he found people who continue his stuff. So we have this huge electronic library, which is illegal, but it exists. There are channel in Telegram, there are website, and yeah, the same way with games. I think mostly now Russians can't pay for games because of the sanctions. It's blocked for Russian, so they just download it somewhere in some, I don't know, I'm not a gamer, but they find the ways to do this. And of course, that's why people who create some art, they prefer to work with foreigners, with Western people, because for Western people it's okay to pay for the art, for your artwork. For Russians it's not. And yeah, that's funny. Yes, I know that in USA or in Germany you can't just download anything, but I don't know, is it work if you use VPN and put Russia? I really wonder if it works or not. I not tell you to do this, I just wonder how it works. Russian government, of course, officially there are copyrights, and of course you can have problems with copyrights, but talking about books and music, they not really try hard to make it impossible to download it. They do something, but not really well. Mostly with Western ones, I think that's I just support this. I don't know, but I guess now because of the sanctions, they are like, oh, you put sanctions on us, we're not going to protect your copyrights. So yeah, I guess that's it. In Russian, people just download everything and for free, and they don't pay for this. Only some principal ones, they pay. Some people download for free first. If they liked it, they pay. So that's it. That's very typical for Russian for Russian people. And then just what I wanted to tell about, because maybe foreigners also don't know about it. I hope that was interesting for you. So thank you for watching, and